Good afternoon. In today's The Episcopal Church 101, I'd like to talk about a very common object, and that is the three-legged stool. In this context, it's the three-legged stool of the authority on which we stand. Let's get some history. For centuries, the Roman Catholic Church was the only form of Christianity in Europe. The power of the church paralleled the political power of kings. Cathedrals were built throughout Europe by selling what amounted to get-out-of-hell statements called indulgences. Men from miles around were forcibly impressed to toil on the construction, basically, of both castles and cathedrals in a near slave labor situation. By the 13th century, universities began to flourish in Europe. Classical languages of antiquity, Greek, Latin, and Hebrew, had been brought into southern Europe by the Muslims in Spain. This led to a strong interest in translating all sorts of ancient texts, as well as the Bible. The Moravians were probably the first to translate the Bible into their local tongue, about a century before Martin Luther. As Luther observed the fundraising techniques for cathedral building programs, he vigorously objected, stating that the church should only do things that are warranted clearly by Scripture. The Protestant Reformation was launched at All Hallows Eve in 1515, with Luther's 96 Theses nailed to the door of the chapel in Wittenberg. The Roman Catholic Church had created one leg of this imaginary stool of authority, which is church tradition, that comes in the form of the liturgies, the practices, the governing structures, and the church laws. The Protestants' rallying cry at the time was sola scriptura, or Latin for only Scripture, meaning that the Bible was the only point of authority in their lives. They were rejecting the traditions of the church. That's leg number two. By the time of the, quote, parliamentary Reformation that swept through England under Henry VIII, the Church of England found that it had strong adherents among the clergy who were both sympathetic either on the one side to the Roman Catholic traditions or to the new Protestant rejection of all things Roman Catholic. In other words, the clergy in the Church of England were split down the middle, diametrically opposed to each other's positions. Upon acceding to the throne, Elizabeth I told her clergy that they would maintain both Protestant and Catholic natures within the Church of England, as long as everyone worshiped from the same Book of Common Prayer. It was a political compromise, preventing more division and enabling diversity of practices with a unity of belief. It also prevented war. Theologian Richard Hooker in England first posited the three-legged stool, claiming that the Roman Catholic Church created one leg of church tradition, the Protestant created the second leg of the Bible, and the Church of England insisted that a third leg was necessary for a stable stool, and that leg was human reason. You must use your God-given brains to read the Bible and attend church. If you fail to use your brains to approach your faith, you're likely to believe all kinds of crazy stuff that somebody else tells you. Episcopalians may like to drink wine and dance, but we reject a lot of the crazy things you hear in other churches.